Hi, everyone, and welcome to our May webinar. We're excited about this month's topic because it focuses on a practice that's so important to establishing a solid foundation for your entire farm operation this crop season, and that's good record keeping. Making sure that your field records are accurate, synced, up to date, and easy to access is crucial, especially as farming becomes more and more complex. We're going to dive into this topic today and then provide you with 3 pretty simple but very effective steps you can take this spring to make field record keeping more streamlined so it easily becomes a routine part of farm management. Before we jump in, I'd like to introduce today's subject matter expert. Simon Knutson is the Precision Ag Specialist with Vantage Canada, which is a network of precision ag dealers across the country that offer Trimble hardware and software tools to farmers across Canada. Simon is a precision agronomist with a master's degree in GIS, and he spent the past 10 years helping farmers improve precision farming practices that at the end of the day really drive productivity and also profitability. As part of that work, Simon has seen firsthand how the success of precision ag strategies depends very heavily on accurate farm records. So he's going to take us through why good record keeping is so important, and then also how you can make it an efficient and often automated part of your everyday farming workflows. So let's get started. Simon, thanks for joining us today. Let's start pretty broad here. First question, why is it so important to have accurate farm records?
Hi Tracy, and thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk on this subject. The first thing I'd say is that as farms are becoming bigger and investing more money into technology, it's more important than ever to stay on top of data management. I've worked with farms that are collecting data on anywhere from a few hundred acres up to tens of thousands of acres, but they really haven't been able to put the data to use in terms of extracting value from it that can help them make better decisions and streamline their operations.
Okay, let's break this problem down. Simon, what can you tell us about the main reason many farmers today aren't able to keep great records? What's making it difficult?
I'd say the biggest challenge I run into on almost a daily basis is that the in-cab displays aren't synchronized. Now what I mean by that is where a farm has multiple machines that are in the field at the same time. The operators are assigning different names or different spellings of the same name to each field. So the result is that instead of having one field, it looks like we have multiple fields because of the different spellings of the names. This is a big problem on larger farms where there may be 4 or 5 combines, for example, and it makes it very challenging to merge all the combine data together to create accurate yield maps. I also see this issue happening a lot on farms with mixed fleets, where different pieces of equipment have different brands of GPS equipment installed.
Okay, let's switch gears now and talk a little bit about precision ag and why good field records are so important for farmers who want to capture the efficiencies and the advantages really that are possible with precision farming practices.
That's a great question. I like to think of field records as a kind of report card that lets you know exactly what's working and what's not. Lots of farms are trying out new products and treatments, as well as different management practices such as variable rate fertility and variable seeding rates. But if you don't record good information, how do you know if these are actually beneficial? I often talk to growers that spent tens of thousands of dollars on a particular crop treatment, but they really don't know if it paid off. Keeping track of exactly what you did and where, as well as tracking the associated costs, does take a little discipline. And when you have this information and are able to combine it with properly calibrated and cleaned yield data, you're in a position to see what makes you money and what doesn't.
So let's go back to the first challenge you talked about, where different spellings of field names is making it difficult to properly manage data. How can that be overcome?
The first step in setting up data management should always be to set up the correct client farm and field structure. When I work with growers using Trimble Ag software, the first thing I have them do is set up their farm via the app on their phone so that each field has the correct name and is assigned to the correct farm. I'll also ask them to draw their field boundaries if they don't already have boundaries created. Then, from the online version of Trimble Ag software, we can create setup files for all the monitors, whether or not they are Trimble. This means that every piece of equipment is set up the same, and the operators can simply pick the correct field rather than having to create a new one. The end result is that when the data starts to flow back into the data management platform, it is all assigned to the correct fields by default.
Now, Simon, you talked about data flowing back into the platform. Can you describe how this works and the benefits of automating record keeping?
Yes, definitely. When farms are using the latest generation Trimble displays, the data collected in the field can automatically upload into their Trimble Ag software account. We can set this up using cellular modems so the data flows automatically from the field. Or it's also possible to tether a cell phone to a display or connect to Wi-Fi at the end of the day to upload the latest data. Our customers really like this feature as it lets them stay on top of managing their data rather than waiting until the end of the season and exporting everything onto USB sticks.
If farms aren't using Trimble displays, is there still a way for them to automate record keeping?
Yes, there is. If they have a cloud-based account with their equipment provider, we can set up an API connection between their Trimble Ag software account and their account with the third-party provider. Their field data would first flow to the third-party provider and then be automatically imported into their Trimble Ag software account. The advantage of this feature is that it brings in all of a farm's data to one single platform, rather than them having to work in multiple platforms.
Now Simon's going to give us a hands-on look at how easy it can be to simplify field record keeping. First, he's going to start with a demonstration in the Trimble Ag mobile app. So you'll see how to set up the correct client, farm, and field structure. Then in part 2 of this demonstration, he's going to walk us through the online platform. Okay, Simon, over to you.
Okay, so I'm going to give you a run through of setting up an example field in the Trimble Ag software and then keeping track of everything that we're doing throughout the growing season. So the first thing I've done here is I've just created an example field. I've called it Fred, and I've put in a crop and a target yield for the season. Using the boundary tool, I've also created a field boundary. Now you can do this through the mobile app. You can do it online if you prefer to use the mouse, or if you already have boundaries that you've created, then you can import those as well. So that's the field setup. And now the next thing that we're going to do is to start keeping track of everything that we're doing on the field through the year so that we know what we did, when we did it, and how much it cost. So the first one, we'll go to seeding. And I've already put the seeding event in, but let's just go have a look at it. So you would do this again. You can do it right from the mobile app. If you have a connected Trimble display, then you can set that up to do this automatically. It'll automatically start to send the jobs from the field into your Trimble Ag software. But what I've done here, I've entered this manually through the app. So you can see I've specified the date and the start and finish time so that we have an accurate number of hours to account for the cost of the use of the equipment. And then I've also added my seed, so you can pick from varieties, every kind of seed. You can put in the cost per unit, the rate that you applied. I don't know how accurate my numbers are here. I've just put in some random numbers. But once it's all done, we now have a record of this field being seeded, and at the bottom right here you can see it's giving us a total cost per acre. So that is the cost of the materials plus the hours on the equipment that's been used. When you create your equipment, you can assign an hourly rate to that tractor or that combine or that implement, and this will take all of that into account coming up with these numbers. So now we've seeded the field, we're going to record some fertility as well, and again this could happen at the same time or it could be a separate day, separate multiple events. You can keep adding as many as you need. So on this field I'd actually set it up to do variable rate into 3 zones. So I've just recorded here in my mobile app that I've assigned 3 different rates to my 3 different zones and put in the information on exactly what the product was. You can see here I've also assigned a sprayer in this case, just because I didn't have a tractor set up in this account, or a spreader, sorry. So now we've recorded our seeding event and our fertility event. Let's also look at some crop protection. So I can see on May 29th we sprayed Caramba on this field. And again, you can keep track, it even keeps track of the weather and the wind speed and the temperature on the day and the time that you went out to the field. And again, you can track what you used and the cost. Okay, so now for the second part of the demonstration, I've come across to the online version of Trimble Ag software. So this is running through the web browser on my laptop. And I'm just looking at the Fred field that we created in the mobile app, and I can see that my information has come across. So my seeding dates, fertilizer applications, product applications, everything's come through. We have a kind of a breakdown of costings for various expenses up here. And for any applications that you have, they have this little application report next to them, so you can click on that and you can generate a product application report that tells you exactly what was applied, where and when. So what I want to show you here is the final step of the data management process for this field. We're going to have a look at the harvest data that has come in from the combines out in the field. So this could either be imported from USB or automatically, wirelessly from the field into the software. So you can see here we have our dry yield, and this is 3 different combines. So if I look at the inputs, I can see I've got multiple combines, multiple files. So the first thing that we need to do here is actually clean up this yield, because we have to assume that the combines weren't calibrated, and it looks like the yield data weren't filtered for flow delays and turning around at the end of each run. So we go into the yield cleaning tool. We can put some adjustments in here if we need, but this the system by default will filter and calibrate everything for you. The only thing that you'd usually have to put in here would be if you know the total yield for the field, you can put that in here, and then all of the combine data will be calibrated to account for the total data in the field. So I've already run this, so I'm just going to close it out now. But it takes a couple of minutes, and then the data are available. So we're going to go back to the Fred field, and we're going to go now have a look at the harvest data. So this, once we've filtered and cleaned the yield data and verified it, it will automatically be imported into the harvest data screen. And you can see here that we have yield information. The map is just about to appear. There it is. And on the left side, we can enter in some information, so sale price, update anything that you need to there. Because we had zones on this field, it's also now giving us a yield by zone report, so I can see that my zone 1 had the highest yield, zone 2 and zone 3 had lower yields respectively, and because we tracked all of our costings on everything on this field, we actually have profit per zone as well. So we can see here that clearly zone 1 made a lot more profit than the other zones. This is where we can also create our yield maps. So we have accurate yield maps now for that field. And because we tracked all of our costings, we are also able to create a profit map. So in this case, we can see where we made the most profit and where we made the least profit on that field. It also gives us a comparison because we were doing variable rate on this field. It gives us a comparison if we'd just done a flat rate, and you can see here that looks like the average profit for variable rate was $120 per acre, and for flat rate we were $100 per acre. So there's a net return on this field of just under $20 per acre for doing variable rate. So that's a quick rundown of using the software for data management, and as you can see, when everything's done properly and we have good data, we get some really, really powerful information.
Thank you for sharing those demos, Simon. Now, just to show you how all of this comes together out in the field, we're going to share here a clip of a farmer who explains the importance of tracking all of his field records and how this practice saves him money on a regular basis.
I'm Dwayne Keese, part owner of Neidlinger Farms Incorporated, Vice President. We farm here at Decatur, Indiana, mainly corn, beans, and wheat, and also do our own tile installation. We've been a user of Trimble Ag software for 25 or so years. Mainly use it, we record everything. We're running 4 FMXs, a 2050, and some other monitors. Everything's recorded, then we analyze the yield data, test strips, see what practices pay for us and which don't, and actually learn a lot from even some mess ups. But it's good. We use it to analyze a lot. We write all the prescriptions, variable rate fertilizer, variable rate seeding, but everything is recorded every trip, so we know what passes we made, and then we can look at the bottom line, not only per field, almost per acre, how we're doing, what fields are paying, what fields aren't.
Okay, that's a wrap for today. Thanks to everyone for joining us today. We hope you'll come away with some helpful ideas and strategies that you can put to use this crop season. If you have any questions on what we've covered today, please let us know. You can reach out by email or by phone. The contact information is on the screen. Also, make sure to come back for our June webinar. We'll give you a heads up on the topic later this month through our website, in our newsletters, and via social media. Thanks again, and see you back here in June.